Okay. So, with the categories of memory, we have sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Something has to happen with the information that makes up a memory at each one of the stages. So what happens with sensory memory?
If I remember, it's like when you're going through something and the moment your senses remember what is going on, what you were feeling, what you were seeing, smelling, feeling, like touching, those kind of like your five senses stuff.
Perfect. So whatever I'm getting, whatever I'm smelling, whatever I'm tasting, etc., that goes into my sensory memory. What do I have to do to get information from sensory memory to short-term memory?
Like we talked about in class, my teacher said if your brain thinks it's important, then it will continue on with short-term memory, long-term memory, and then if it doesn't, it kind of like goes away because you weren't paying attention to.
Oh, good keywords.
Sensory.
So if I pay attention to the sensory memory, it goes in my short-term memory. What do I do to get it from my short-term memory to my long-term memory?
It's the same thing. You gotta pay attention to what's going on, or your brain does. So you compared it to losing your keys. Like if someone loses their keys all the time, it's because someone's talking to them. They have groceries in their hand. They're talking to somebody else.
Yep.
They're doing other things.
You're not paying attention to where your keys are.
They don't know where they're putting their keys, so then the next time they go to get them, they're like, where did I put them?
So I have to try to store it if it's in my short-term memory. I have to make some kind of effort to remember it. Good. All right, and then after long-term memory, we're good. It's a memory. Okay? So what happens to sensory memory? Well, first of all, real quick, let's list another couple examples of what sensory memory is. So, for example, the smell of what?
Smell of, let's see, apples.
Smell of apples, okay? Taste of chocolate. Okay. And then what happens to this information if I don't try to make some kind of effort to pay attention to it?
It just goes away. It's not important, so your brain can only hold so much. So your brain just kind of gets rid of that information because you didn't make the effort to pay attention to it.
It goes away forever. Okay, let's talk about some examples of short-term memory. Things that I'm going to remember for a few seconds. So right now you're hearing me talk to you. Mm-hmm. You're trying to pay attention to what I'm saying. So words of a conversation.
Yes. Those can be forgotten very fast.
Yes. Or digits of a phone number that you were just given. Okay. And what happens if we don't pay attention to this?
It also goes away forever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Long-term information. What are some example memories there?
Things like riding a bike, knowing how to, I don't know, I feel like read a book, like sometimes if you know how you have that memory down, or that is stored in your memory, then you have it already.
Yeah.
And you can still go and do it again.
Yeah, and that one Christmas at Granny's.
Mm-hmm. Or a birthday party you were at, or some family thing, or even just hanging out with friends at a girls' night or date night.
Yeah, all good examples. Okay, so if we've made it here, what happens to the memory?
It stays.
Okay. And then real quick, let's just talk about at each one of these stages how much it can hold and how long it can hold it. So sensory memory.
Isn't it like 30 seconds or something? It's less than a minute.
It's just a few seconds, yeah.
A few seconds, okay.
So it's pretty much as we're sensing it. And when we're not sensing it anymore, bye-bye.
Okay.
So how many things can we usually sense here? Like, how many different things can I sense with my sensory memory on one thing?
I assume like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
It's like
it's a few.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're doing something in the moment and you're smelling something, like, you're going to
It's a few.
remember both.
Usually it's 1 to 2, but like I could get it if, you know, you were smelling a flower, but you were also seeing that that flower was red and you were feeling that it was hot outside. Like, that's all normal, but it's usually just a very few things in sensory memory. Okay? Maybe, and this goes up if you're more attentive to things, but that's the average. Okay, with short-term memory, how long does it last?
It's more than a few seconds, but less than a minute.
Yeah, good answer. Okay. How many pieces of information can we usually hold? What's the average there?
I think it depends.
I'll give you a hint.
It's like a few seconds then, and just a couple of things.
7. On average, we can hold 7.
Magic 7.
Yeah. That's why phone numbers are kind of the common example given here. All right, long-term memory. How long can we potentially hold it?
For a long time.
Forever, potentially. And what's its capacity?
I think it's a lot of things.
It's infinite. We don't really know the limit. If we have made it to here, we don't know how much that can store because we haven't really had anybody burst at the seams yet. Maybe Sherlock Holmes, but he's a fictional character. All right. Any questions on categories of memory?